If you didn't know, the Veil beta just ended last week, and it was the final beta for the game. It's gonna go in early access in May, so if you missed it, it's fine. You don't have to wait that long. It's like a pre-launch review, just what I think about the game. It's not really like a full review, just like my honest thoughts about the game. I'm in the partner program, but they're very receptive to feedback, so I can say whatever about the game. It's fine. It's not like changing my opinion of the game being in the program, and I wouldn't have joined it or applied to it if I didn't like the game. Feel me? So I'm gonna just go through the good and bad. The good overall gameplay loop is like really fun. Most fun I've had with a shooter since Apex dropped, pretty much. Like even when I played it a year ago in the first beta, I was waiting for this game to drop another beta or something, just release anything since then, and I still enjoy the game even after not playing it from I think like last July or something up till we had a partner preview thing, and then we had the final beta. The way the game goes from like third person to first person if you ADS, but there's also like a third person ADS. You can switch shoulders, you can lean kind of like R6 still, and then you can come out of that, go into first person to fully ADS. I think that was actually pretty smart. I think it adds a lot of buttons, which made me worry about controller for a second, but then I realized people play R6 on controller all the time. Granted, they're not going from third to first person, but if they can lean, aim, use abilities on controller on R6, it'll be fine for Veiled. They're working on controller support anyway, so it'll be fine. The gunplay is satisfying. Most of the weapons are balanced. The agents, they have abilities, and they're not like overbearing. And what I mean by overbearing is they're not gonna like carry you over your weapons and like your map knowledge or your positioning, things like that. They're very much like in the back seat. They can assist you, but like if you don't use an ability all game, you could still have a fairly good chance to still win just off of your positioning, how good your aim is, stuff like that. Because out of all the popular hero shooters, they're all pretty like ability and gun like on the same level. Like both of them have equal impact. I like that it's still like weighing on your skill more than your abilities. I think it's good for the health of especially like competitive play, because abilities can get out of hand. Like with Apex, it's always like a meta of something. Like for the longest, it was Seer. Ever since he dropped, it was Seer. Every team had a Seer. Once you got into a certain rank, it was annoying. But I mean, yeah, you can make it work without him, but if you wanted to make your games easier, you would have a Seer on your team. But it's not really like that in Veiled. And since the last beta, they added team deathmatch and they added ranked. The team deathmatch, I honestly didn't expect, but I mean, the way they had it work is, so teams start off opposite sides of a map, and then the ring, there's a ring, kind of like a VR, but it's not a VR, but it'll move as you play, so no one ends up just like camping in one spot. How often it moves varies, what I noticed, but yeah, I mean, I think it was a good addition. I didn't expect it at all. It was surprising to me, but yeah, I think I like that they added something besides just the bomb defusal. That's the main mode. And if you don't really know a lot about Veiled, you can watch the video I posted, I don't know, like a month ago about it. I explained everything a lot better in there. I'm really grazing over stuff here because assuming you know what Veiled is, and you probably played the beta too. And like over the course of the beta, the devs were pretty receptive to feedback. They were changing stuff as the beta went on. Like they added in more armor into the game. They added buffs and nerfs to certain agents and weapons and things like that. And yes, it's been a while since I've enjoyed a new shooter this much. Most of the time it's like I enjoyed Apex and I played something that wasn't a shooter. That's usually how it went. But bad, really only two things. Main thing is the game optimization. I could not stream this game for the life of me. OBS and Veil being up at the same time was just like shitting on my computer pretty much. I don't have the greatest PC ever, but I also don't have the worst. I'll put my specs on the screen as to what I have, but I would literally have my OBS running off the CPU to stream and record, so that way the GPU could more so focus on the game and still be maxing shit out. It would stutter my audio and all of that, so I really only played it off stream or just without recording, which kind of sucked. So I think that's the main issue that's got to get fixed. The game is optimized better to where it can be consistently streamed by just not super high-end PCs, and that needs to happen, because I wasn't even running it in full screen either. I had it in window, and I just fit it to my screen to make it look like it was full screen. And there were instances of like I'd be playing a game and there is a leave penalty. I would get kicked like randomly. A game would just freeze. I'd end up back in the lobby and they'd be like, oh, you can't play for 5 or 10 minutes. That happened a few times. It was annoying. So that's the game optimization. That's my main gripe with the game. It has nothing to do with the gameplay. Just I need the game to function. But at the same time, it's a beta, so there's going to be later builds of the game when it goes in early access, it'll be a later build, probably be optimized better. And since that's early access, when it fully launches, it'll probably even be better by then. So I'm not really worried about it, but I'm gonna bring it up because it's just important. Oh, also, window borderless, that needs to be added in. The other gripe with the game I had was the strength of the snipers. If you had an M24 or an op, downing anybody, one shot did not matter. Now with the op, that's the most expensive sniper in the game. You can only get it after you upgrade tactics, or if it's in ranked and you have the 3 bars, I forget which one gets you the op, but you have to upgrade it all the way to get the op. So that makes sense. Like you have to unlock it and still spend the most money you can spend on a weapon in the game. It should be one shot, I get that. But the M24 is the second most expensive, but you can get it anytime. And if you're Lily, you get it discounted. So the strength in the snipers was a lot. Like I would, even before I mentioned they upgraded the armor, I was one-shotting people with the bow. A little bow and arrow. It was a scan bow, but still. And then the SVD, which is like the cheapest sniper. Yeah, if the strength of the snipers gets toned down, I think the weapon balance will be perfect from there on. I mean, yeah, you maybe like little tweaks here and there, but overall it'd be really good once the snipers get brought down a tier, because they were just smacking. And when you would lean side to side, you could kind of use a sniper like a shotgun since it hits so hard. Not so much like the bow, but if you had an M24 and you just shoulder ADS'd it, you could kind of use it like a shotgun. If you hit them, they're gonna go down. But to be fair, during the beta, they upped the amount of armor. Before, it was 50 by default, and then when you upgrade the tactics, it would get you up to 100. They upped it to where you have 100 by default, and then when you upgrade it, you get 150. So that kind of indirectly nerfed the snipers. Once you got to 150, you weren't getting one tapped as much, unless it was by an op, but that makes sense. I'm assuming the game will be better optimized by the time it comes out in early access and just like the full launch and all that. And it seems like they're gonna nerf the snipers. I think they heard that part loud and clear. They tried it with the armor to see how it worked during the beta. So I feel like if that wasn't enough, then they'll end up nerfing the snipers. I think it'll be fine. Only other minor things I had was sometimes the game logic can be weird when you go from leaning, because when you lean, you walk really slow and then back to the shoulder, but then staying on that same shoulder, you can't like switch from right side to left side when you're in third person, but you can switch by leaning to the opposite side and then kind of staying on that side. But that was really it, which I don't think it's a problem, but how you switch to the other side I think could change. Maybe they add in the ability to switch shoulders, I don't know, but because I didn't really have a problem with it, but I had some friends mention it, like the game logic with the shoulder swapping was weird. And then also just the seed being on the ground. The seed is the bomb, or it's like the spike in Valorant. Like in Valorant, the spike is on the ground in the beginning of every round. Someone has to pick it up. So if you don't want it, you can just literally dodge it. It would just give it to somebody. It would usually give it to anybody playing Young Sick. That's what I noticed, because he has an ability where he can plant faster, so that makes sense. It should be on the ground. That'll make more sense. They'll probably make that change anyway, so that'd be cool. One last thing. A lot of people think the game is just going to fall off immediately because they compare it to Rogue Company, and Rogue Company didn't really pan out like that. It still has its community, but it's not really there like it was before. Just because it's a third-person shooter doesn't mean it's like Rogue. The same way, just because there's an FPS doesn't mean it's COD. Or if it's a BR, it's automatically Apex or Fortnite, right? Because in my opinion, Veiled clears Rogue by a fucking mile. So try the game. Before you talk your shit, just try the game. You're probably going to enjoy it if you like shooters in general. So yeah, I just want to put that out. I don't think the game's going to fall off at all. And again, I wouldn't have joined the partner program if I didn't like the game in the first place. So it's not really weighing or swaying my opinion like that at all. I just wanted to put that part in. I don't think the game's going to fall off. This is assuming, like, you know, consistent updating of the game as far as they have like seasonal content. I don't know if there's going to be a battle pass or anything like that, but content being consistently added into the game, whether it be agents, weapons, maps, modes, whatever it is. As long as there's content being added to the game, I think it'll be fine for some years. I don't know how long it can go for, but I mean, Fortnite dropped in what, 2017, and it's still going. They've had every type of celebrity in there, and now they got a whole like creative on crack mode pretty much. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's really it. Early access is going to start in May. I don't have like a final date, just going to be next month. And if you missed my last video where I explained the game way better, then it's up on the screen now. Go ahead and click that, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, post like general gaming stuff, whatever I'm really interested in. It used to be a lot of Apex, now it's just going to be gaming in general. Could be Veiled, could be about something, who knows. Bye.